Hello lovely beaders. Welcome back to my channel. I've made this bracelet to match last week's herringbone earrings, using the same technique and colors. This pattern is so old that when I first made it in 2007, it was already considered a vintage design. I thought I'd show how fresh colors and a little sparkle can bring an old favorite back to life. I don't like working with beading thread because no matter what I do, I often end up with tangles or knots. But for the flexibility this bracelet requires, it's the best choice, so I have to use it. String 4 size 11 seed beads. Tie a knot with your thread ends to form a circle with these beads. Flat herringbone needs a solid base. We are making this foundation with ladder stitch. And just like that, before I even really start, my thread's in a huge tangle. Don't worry, I'm saving these moments for a funny compilation at the end, so stay tuned for that. Go through the first 2 seed beads. Pick up 2 size 11 seed beads. Go through the first 2 beads again and the beads you just strung. Now you have 3 columns in ladder stitch. You need to make 8 of these columns to have a foundation for this bracelet. Continue making these columns until you have 8 in total. I will speed up this next section of the video, as I'll just be repeating the same steps to create the remaining 5 columns. If you'd like to watch this part in real time, please use YouTube's playback speed settings to slow it down. I need to make a quick apology. Many parts of this video are a bit blurry as my camera focused on the gold beads under my hands by mistake. I only saw it after finishing this very fiddly bracelet, so refilming wasn't possible this time. I truly hope you can still follow along okay. I made my 8 columns. Now we can begin the herringbone stitch part. String 2 size 11 seed beads and go through the second column from the ladder stitch part. Go up in the third column. String 2 size 11 seed beads and go through the fourth column. Go up in the fifth column. String 2 size 11 seed beads and go through the sixth column. Go up in the seventh column. String 2 size 11 seed beads and go through the first bead of your last column. Now you have 4 herringbone units. To turn back to start the new row, you need to add a size 15 seed bead on the side of your last column. Make a herringbone unit on top of the first herringbone unit. So string 2 size 11 seed beads and go through the second bead from the first herringbone unit. To start the first wave, string a size 15 seed bead between your herringbone units. Make the second herringbone unit. Adjust the beads whenever you need it to help them sit correctly. You need to maintain good tension to stop any loosening in the next rows. And make the third herringbone unit. To start the second wave, string a size 15 seed bead between your herringbone units. And make the last herringbone unit. To start the new row, add a size 15 seed bead on the side of your last column. Make your first herringbone unit. String 2 size 15 seed beads between the units. Make the second herringbone unit. And as you can see, I am struggling again with a pesky little thread tangle here. Make the third herringbone unit. String 2 size 15 seed beads between the units. And make the last herringbone unit. Turn with a size 15 seed bead. Make the first herringbone unit. Now, without adding any new beads, simply go through the 2 size 15 seed beads strung in the last row. This step helps to create space for a bicone in the next row. Make the second herringbone unit. Make the third herringbone unit. Go through the 2 size 15 seed beads strung in the last row. And make the last herringbone unit. Turn with the size 15 seed bead. Make the first herringbone unit. And now we widen the space to fit a 3 mm bicone between the units. Make the second unit. Make the third unit. String a 3 mm bicone between the units. And make the last unit. Turn with a size 15 seed bead. Make the first unit. And go through the bicone to make more space for it and position it better. Make the second unit. Make the third unit. go through the bicone. And make the last unit. Turn with the size 15 seed bead. Make the first unit. In this row we start to narrow the space between the herringbone units to achieve the wavy look. So, string 2 size 15 seed beads between the units. Make the second unit. Make the third unit. String 2 size 15 seed beads between the units. Make the last unit. Turn with the size 15 seed bead. You'll probably recognize the pattern for this row. String the herringbone units and just go through the seed beads between them. I'd love your opinion on something important to help me improve my videos for you. I've received feedback from a few viewers, and I truly appreciate you sharing this, that some of the sped up sections in my tutorials can be a bit too fast to follow comfortably. As you know, I often speed up repetitive parts. The main reason is that the full, unedited footage for detailed projects like this would typically make the video very long, often over an hour. I've always aimed to keep the final video at a more manageable length, respecting your time. But these feedbacks leaves me wondering about the best approach for my videos. So I'd be very grateful if you could share your thoughts. When it comes to these parts, would you prefer that I continue to speed them up significantly, which keeps the overall video shorter? Or would you find it more helpful if I showed more of the beading process in real time? This would naturally mean much longer videos, and could also include extended periods where you'd mostly see quiet, focused beading without constant commentary from me. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. Your preferences and any suggestions you have are incredibly valuable to me for my future tutorials. Thank you so much for helping me make this channel better for everyone. Turn with a size 15 seed bead. In this row, we will close off the 2 side wave patterns while beginning a new one in the middle. To do this, you will add 1 size 15 seed bead between each of your herringbone units. The first wave is finished. Start the middle wave with a size 15 seed bead. And the second wave is finished too. Turn with the size 15 seed bead. In this row we will start building the middle wave. String the first 2 herringbone units. String 2 size 15 seed beads for the middle wave. And make the last 2 herringbone units. Turn with the size 15 seed bead. In this row, string the herringbone units and just go through the size 15 seed beads from the middle wave. As I was telling you before, this row helps to create space for a bicone in the next row. Turn with a size 15 seed bead. In this row, string the herringbone units and string the 3 mm bicone for the middle wave. This part of the video is just begging to be sped up. And honestly, my fingers are itching to hit that speed up button. It's exactly the type of repetitive section where speeding things up could easily save us some time. But I'm trying a little experiment here, and I'd be very interested to see how you find this part, with all the repetitive beading and the longer quiet moments. Turn with a size 15 seed bead. This next row might also seem a little bit repetitive. All we're really doing is making the herringbone units and passing through the bicone from the middle wave. Turn with a size 15 seed bead. In this row, we start to narrow the middle wave. So string 2 size 15 seed beads for that gap. And make the herringbone units as usual. Turn with a size 15 seed bead. This row will be a boring row again. Make the herringbone units as usual and just go through the size 15 seed beads from the middle wave. Why do I often speed up my videos? Maybe it's because when the beading part gets very repetitive and quiet for a long time, I feel I should be talking with you. But honestly, it's not always easy to know what to chat about. I always give you the main instructions during the video. So, when we get to a section like this one, it's mostly just repeating the same things. That means there's often not much new to teach in these quiet moments. This is exactly why your feedback on my earlier question about video speed is so important to me. If you tell me you prefer slower videos, it will be a challenge to find ways to make these long, quiet beading times interesting for you and not boring at all. So please do let me know your thoughts when you have a moment. Turn with a size 15 seed bead. This row will be a challenging row again. We finish our middle wave and start the side waves again. So string the herringbone units and string a size 15 seed bead between every unit. Turn with a size 15 seed bead. From this row on, you will just repeat the wave pattern sections. First you'll make the side waves, and when you finish the side waves then start the middle wave. For my bracelet I made 7 side waves and 6 middle waves. This made the beaded part 15 centimeters long. Since this is now just repetition to get the length you want, I will bead the rest of my bracelet off camera. I'll be back when it's finished to show you how to complete the ends and attach the clasp. And yes, at the very end I'll still show you a fun little clip of all the knots I managed to catch on camera. But keep in mind, most of this bracelet was beaded off camera, so the tangles that I will be showing you are just the tip of the iceberg, believe me. Like magic, here I am with my almost finished bracelet. I still have to make one more row to finish it. As you can see, this beaded part of the bracelet is currently 15 centimeters long. When I add the snap clasp I've chosen for it, the total length will be 17 centimeters. However, I still need to create small beaded loops at each end to attach this clasp. These loops will determine the bracelet's final length, making it a perfect fit for my wrist. But for now I need to make a final row. I string only herringbone units. And I will still need to reinforce this end to look like our initial ladder stitch start. Remember our ladder stitch start? We made those neat stacks of 2 beads like little ladder steps. We want this other end of the bracelet to look just the same, clean and structured. Don't worry, I'll show you how to get that neat laddered effect. See how the tops of these herringbone units are still open? We need to fix this now so it looks just like our ladder stitch beginning. I didn't use a turning bead at the end of this last row, so my thread is exiting from the second bead of the last herringbone unit. Let's call this the first column. Go up 2 beads from the second column. Go down 2 beads from the third column. Go up 2 beads from the fourth column. Go down 2 beads from the fifth column. Go up 2 beads from the sixth column. Go down 2 beads from the seventh column. Go up 2 beads from the last column. The 2 ends of the bracelet look quite similar now. While we could add more reinforcement, I think it's already looking good. Next step, sewing on the beaded loop for the clasp. So I am leading my thread to the third column. With the clasp I'm using, an extra jump ring is needed for it to sit correctly on the bracelet. For this reason I need to string this jump ring together with my bead loop. I use 5 size 11 seed beads for my bead loop, and of course I string the jump ring too. Find the third column from the other side and go down 2 beads on that column. This way your bead loop will be centered. And now you need to find a way to turn back through the bead loop to reinforce it. Honestly, I got a little bit lost myself here. I started going in one direction, then a little bit in the other direction, but in the end I found the correct way back into the bead loop to make it secure. After securing this bead loop, we would need to go to the other end of the bracelet and make a bead loop there too. Lead your thread to the opposite end of the bracelet by going through an existing herringbone row. This is the simplest way to reach the other end. I'll speed this section up now, as there isn't anything new to see in this step. Here's a little tip for you, learned from my own slight mistake here. I should have made the first clasp loop right after the ladder stitch foundation. My mind has been a bit elsewhere lately. So, when you make yours, I recommend adding that first loop then. It saves you from weaving the thread all the way to the end now. It's a good time to ask for your support now. I'd be thrilled if you'd subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Every comment and share also helps my channel grow, allowing me to keep creating more free tutorials for you. And you know, I absolutely love seeing your finished pieces. If you make anything from my designs, please do tag me or share a photo with me on my social media. If you'd like to support me further, you can check out my tutorials and handmade jewelry in my online shops. The links are in the description. Thank you so much for beading along. It truly makes this creative journey possible. I will weave in the tail and I will cut it. I'll just go through a few beads so I don't cut the thread right after the knot. And now I can make the second bead loop for the bracelet. I string 5 size 11 seed beads and the second part of the clasp with the jump ring. And I go through the third column from the other side. I lead my thread back in the bead loop to secure it. And I need to finish off my thread. For this bracelet, here's the way how I finish off my thread. First, I weave the thread through a few of the beads. Then I make a double knot on a thread bridge between 2 beads. This double knot is just to be more secure. After that, I just weave in the thread through a lot of beads. You know, if this intentional double knot were the only knot I made while beading, I'd be a very happy beader indeed. But let's be honest, my thread had a mind of its own quite a few times while making this bracelet. Curious how many tangles and knots I actually caught on film? We're about to count them together. This looks like a small nest, don't you think? Fortunately, I could untangle it quickly. The wonderful world of beading thread. You know, even after beading for nearly 20 years and trying every trick in the book, this thread still likes to keep me on my toes. Some of my knots are simple ones, but sometimes I get a giant one or even one I cannot deal with and need to cut my thread. I had one off camera that snapped. That was a big one. It often seems that my thread has a mind of its own, determined to tie itself into the most creative knots and tangles, usually at the most inconvenient times. These thread tangles can be sneaky. Sometimes one hides so well under a unit that you might miss it if you're not careful. If that hidden tangle isn't fixed immediately, it will surely cause trouble in the next row. And here we have another one of those brutal knots. Sometimes, you really have to poke your needle right into the middle of it just to find a starting point to untangle it. There are knots so stubborn that your only option is to just give up and cut the thread. Luckily, this one wasn't that dramatic and I managed to work it out. I think I'll stop commenting every single one of these knots and tangles from now on. Because honestly, if you're a beader, I'm pretty sure these little thread surprises look very familiar to you, right? We all have these moments in our crafty lives. I decided to include these clips for a couple of main reasons. Firstly, I want you to see that even after many years of beading, everyone, myself included, still has these little struggles and battles with the thread. It's perfectly normal. And secondly, I thought by showing you how I try to deal with these common tangles, you might pick up a useful tip or two along the way. Here's one practical tip I often share in my workshops, especially for those really tight, looped knots. Try very carefully inserting the very tip of your beading needle right into the heart of the knot. Often this simple action can help create just enough space to loosen the knot, allowing you to gently start working it out. As for most other stubborn tangles and knots, my best advice is always a good dose of patience, combined with what I like to call gentle but firm persuasion. It usually does the trick. So don't get discouraged easily. Take a deep breath and always remember, you are definitely much smarter than the knot. But after all that struggle with those tangles, I'm so excited to finally show you the finished bracelet. So, what do you think? Was this beautiful result worth all the headache from those knots and tangles? I like it. I hope you do too. And now let me show it to you together with its matching earrings. They make a lovely set, don't they? And that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for hanging out with me. See you next week.